Former Law Minister and lawyer Kapil Sibal has stoked massive controversy. Sibal has declared that he has no hope and expectations left from the Supreme Court. The Rajya Sabha MP was speaking at an event on Saturday where he has also said that if you think the Supreme Court will give you justice, you're gravely mistaken. Sibal has also alleged bench fixing. He said, and I quote, "The reality is that whichever sensitive matters are there in which we all know there is a problem, they're listed before selective judge," unquote. The senior lawyer also criticized the apex court for Zakia's Jafri case verdict. He also lamented that the PMLA verdict of the Supreme Court and said that the unfettered power of the Enforcement Directorate is the most dangerous for individual liberty.
कि आपको बेल नहीं मिलेगी जब तक ये नहीं साबित करोगे कि आप बेकसूर हो। और वो कानून सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है सही कानून है, तो उस कानून अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ये कह दे कि सही कानून है, उस सुप्रीम कोर्ट की कितनी उम्मीद रखोगे उस सुप्रीम कोर्ट से? So the point that I am making is, what confidence do you have in a system where the laws of this nature are upheld by the Supreme Court? You can't have any confidence in that system.
The statement of former Union Minister for Law and Justice, Mr. Kapil Sibal, lamenting that he has lost hope in the Indian judiciary is contemptuous. Courts are not to deliver judgments hanging people just to assuage the feelings of a certain community. The robust system is insulated from statements that is influenced only by the law.
ये बड़ा ही दुखद है, खासकर वो व्यक्ति जो भारत का कानून मंत्री रहा हो, एक बहुत बड़ा सुप्रीम कोर्ट का लॉयर है और ये कहे कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णय पर उनको भरोसा नहीं है। वो किस पर भरोसा करेंगे? और उनको इस तरह की बात नहीं कहनी चाहिए और उनको दोबारा बयान देना चाहिए, क्योंकि इससे ये गलत मैसेज जाता है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो निर्णय है वो पूरे देश के लोगों को मानना होता है।
वो वरिष्ठ हमारे आगेवान भी है, उनको समझना चाहिए कि न्यायालय का सम्मान करना चाहिए और जिस तरह वो टीका टिप्पणी कर रहे उनको शोभा नहीं देती और ऐसी टीका टिप्पणी उनके लिए भी अच्छी नहीं है, क्योंकि आप जिस तरह बातें करते हैं वो हमारी पीढ़ी को आप क्या मैसेज देना चाहते हो, और इस तरह का आप जो बिहेव है वो कतई माफ करेगी नहीं भारतीय जनता पार्टी और सभी जनता कभी माफ नहीं करेगी उनको।
Nalini Sharma now joins us live. Nalini, explain to us exactly and put into context what Kapil Sibal is trying to say.
Well, Shetty, senior advocate Kapil Sibal was speaking at an event in New Delhi when he made these remarks about how he has no hope from the Supreme Court anymore, and he'd also gone ahead and said that it hurts him to make such statements about a court where he has been practicing for over 50 years. But unfortunately, the situation's come to that. Sibal spoke about several cases, several ongoing cases, as well as recent judgments that have come in from the Supreme Court, especially in the Zakia Jafri case, as well as the PMLA judgment that had upheld the powers of the Enforcement Directorate recently. And criticizing these judgments, Kapil Sibal went on to say that it is not true that all of the judges are given an opportunity to decide sensitive cases, and only a handful of judges decide all the sensitive and politically sensitive matters that come in before the Supreme Court. So the scathing criticism of the top court and the way that it functions, and it's likely to have repercussions because the audience included several retired judges, although not from the Supreme Court but from high courts, as well as several legal academicians as well as scholars. And this was an event, like I told you, that was happening in New Delhi when these scathing remarks were made by senior advocate Kapil Sibal. But that's his opinion. He's gone ahead and said that even in the Zakia Jafri judgment, the Supreme Court had made some scathing observations against accused on the basis of accusations that were made by people who were facing charges themselves. Even about the PMLA judgment, he's gone ahead and said that the Supreme Court has failed in upholding the principles of liberty of individuals by passing the PMLA judgment and allowing for stringent conditions like the twin conditions of bail that are mentioned under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how repercussions are arising out of these statements that have come in now from the senior advocate, because remember, Kapil Sibal is one of the top lawyers that practices regularly in the Supreme Court, and it is from him that this scathing criticism is now coming in.
Oh yes, absolutely. And the BJP has been giving out a lot of reactions on this, and also the Bar Association has hit out on Kapil Sibal. I'm more interested in knowing what the Bar Association stance is on the statements made by Kapil Sibal in this regard.
Chetty, one thing that is often said is that you should always criticize the judgments but never the judges. And Kapil Sibal seems to be walking a tightrope right now through these comments that have been made at the event that was organized by PUCL, which is the People's Union for Civil Liberties, as well as CGAR, the Campaign for Judicial Accountability and Reforms. And both of these organizations are run by Advocate Prashant Bhushan, who's also one of the advocates, a leading voice for an anti-establishment movement, who's also regularly practicing in the Supreme Court. So it was in this event that these comments were made, and it is often seen that these comments usually lead to requests, at least to the Attorney General, for contempt proceedings to be initiated, and that seems to be the line that even several people within the legal fraternity right now are taking, including members of the Bar Association, where they're saying that the comments made by Kapil Sibal in this entire event were in fact contemptuous.
Of the Bharatiya Janata Party is joining us. Your first up reaction on what Kapil Sibal has said, and my colleague Nalini was rightly pointing out that criticize the judgments if you have to, but not the judges.
No, when I speak as a foot soldier of the Honorable Supreme Court, having served the Supreme Court Bar Association as the former secretary.
Okay.
And I must say that it is very unfortunate that you start casting aspersions on the judiciary. The common man has full faith in the judiciary of the country, which has done a phenomenal job even during the COVID pandemic. And criticizing judgments, dissenting, is all fine. This is part of deliberation. But when you start destroying the system by making these irresponsible comments and being a senior advocate, it does a lot of damage to the institution, which is unwelcome. And this seems like a very politically loaded statement, because even in the past, Rahul Gandhi has said the same. He said that all the institutions of the country are compromised. Such statements should be avoided.
Absolutely. And, if you could elaborate further on the kind of damage that, this does to the society at large, because, even if he wasn't the former law minister, just casting these aspersions on judiciary, no matter what, because like you said, the common man today has no other faith. The last hope is always resting on the judiciary.
Absolutely. See, there would be cases that would be decided one way or the other. The honorable judges also are fulfilling their obligations under the Constitution. Now, if an aggrieved party, after having argued a matter before the bench of the Supreme Court, comes out and starts saying that just because they've lost the matter, the bench is not doing its job well, that is unfortunate. You should have reasons. There should be evidence if you make such scurrilous remarks. And then what we see is that Supreme Court per se is not functioning at all, is a very bold statement, a very wide statement, which damages the institution. And this is unacceptable. I remember during another matter of the Ram Mandir hearing, there were senior advocates who were saying that have this matter hearing after the elections of 2019. Now, we all know the spirit of the Constitution is that the judiciary is a separate organ altogether.
No, absolutely.
Why should it decide matters on the basis of whatever is going on in the political arena?
Right. I appreciate you taking the time out, Mr. Bhatia. We also have a reaction coming from Mahesh Jethmalani. Listen in.
I know he must be speaking for himself and for a small band of people who expect the Supreme Court to give decisions only in the manner that they want, to give decisions favorable to them, in other words. So this is, grapes are sour and then you abuse the institution. And the name you've taken is a very senior lawyer. I have a lot of respect for him, so I'm very surprised he should come out and say this. But, the rules of the game are well laid down. If you want to criticize the judgment, you can criticize it. But I don't think you should denigrate the entire institution. I think that's doing great disservice to an institution which you have been a part of, which has served you well and which has served the country well.